Hi, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Planet Capable. I'm Mike Rogers.
I'm Alex Chesko.
Yeah. Uh, uh,
Greetings. This is Lee Hartley. Hi, and today we just want to do a little bit of short commentary on the whole idea of why Medicaid matters to us and what it would mean if the funding stream was decimated.
Decimated. I love that. So Terminator.
Yeah, I mean, because really, that's what it's coming down
uh,
to. Medicaid is if legislation is passed, it's going to take a major hit. So,
Mhm.
Alex, what what does Medicaid do for you?
So Medicaid for me does a lot of things, and most of the things it's things that people don't see. So, for instance, Medicaid covers my services that I receive, so that staff can help me. Staff gets paid essentially to help me, do the things that I need to do. Some of the things that I need help with are things like, picking up the groceries and doing laundry and things like that. So, Medicaid helps pay um, staff indirectly by virtue of the human services that I have to pay for that. So um, things like that. They also pay for things like my self-directed plan, so that I'm able to live uh, on my own, and it covers things like uh, my rent and things like that a little bit, so I get a little bit of rental coverage, just to help, you know, because yeah, things like that. It makes a big difference, and it pretty much allows me to live a very independent and empowered life, and that's the important part. Um, if it was cut, I would have to do a lot of scrounging about and finding a way to live for myself that would not be enjoyable. I would have to struggle a lot more, and it would be very, very rough for someone like me. And I can imagine for those that need Medicaid services even more, that would be even worse for them. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'll get into myself in a second, but Medicaid provides day services for some people. Um, you know, things that are definitely needed for people to have a good, fulfilling, existence. And I mean, for myself, it provides aid service. All of that may come through different funding streams, but I like to say it comes from the same pond, right?
mhm.
So so, you know I wouldn't be able to fully dress myself. I wouldn't be able to bathe correctly without you know risking big injury to myself. Um making sure that I properly have the nutrition that I need. I'm fully capable of doing some things in that regard, but not all things without burning myself and different things like that. And I don't want to have third-degree burns all over myself. So all of as well as my wheelchair. The wheelchairs that people uh, with developmental disabilities get are are mainly covered through Medicaid most of the time.
Mhm.
And I say most of the time because I can't speak for everyone, you know. Um, so, you know, needless to say, self direction services under OPWDD as well is a Medicaid funded thing. So everything that we get to help us live most of the time is funded through the Medicaid waiver in some way. So I mean, I would be decimated. I would be decimated. It would be going back to institutional days.
hmm So in other words, Mike, if Medicaid could happen, we would see you rolling around your wheelchair naked and smelling
Yeah,
pretty gross.
yeah, yeah. That's what I say in press conferences. You'd be seeing me naked if I didn't have the aid service that I need. I don't
Mhm.
always want the aid service, but it's a necessary thing in my life to,
uh,
have the independence that I have.
So,
You know,
for you politicians listening out there, be aware that unless you want to see Mike naked and dirty in a wheelchair, you know, don't don't cut Medicaid.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Lee, how important is your services to you? Are your services to you?
While Lee is typing that, it's important to recognize too that, a lot of people look at Medicaid and they see it as, a waste of funds in a lot of ways. A lot of some of these politicians see, Medicaid as a waste of funds or that they're being used in the wrong way. And for sure, there are some people that definitely do utilize um human service funds in the wrong way, things like that. Uh, we've heard about the stereotypical, parents that have multiple kids just so they can get more and more paychecks, whatever, that kind of thing. However, um, for those that are utilizing services the right way, we don't deserve to have our stuff cut. Like, we do contribute to society the best way we can. And, for a lot of us, it's like, why do you want to cause us even more suffering? Um, and a lot of us you know even you, Mike, you have a job too, but you still need some services as well. you know
Yeah, yeah. So in a way, when you work, you're contributing to your own services through paying taxes and stuff
hmm
like that. When people say, "Well, taxpayers pay for it," I'm like, "Yeah, I do pay for my own services in that way. I'm a
hmm
taxpayer." So
hmm
there's that aspect of it too. So, and I'm helping pay for the services of my compatriots that may not be employed for many reasons. But so what? They,
hmm
every person deserves a chance at a good life, and if services help provide that, then we should have them.
absolutely.
I would be where I am without Medicaid.
Say that again, Lee. I'm sorry.
I would be where I am without Medicaid.
You wouldn't be where you are without Medicaid. Yeah, for sure. um I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Lee, so feel free to disagree with me as you see fit. But I'm sure the wheelchair you're in right now is covered by Medicaid, right? So you wouldn't even be able to get around had Medicaid not covered that. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And same with you, Mike.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, I do use crutches, but I'm I'm not 100% mobile on crutches. I couldn't go for long distances, like in your case, Alex. You can go for long distances.
hmm hmm
I we do at Outside the Box Associates, we do muddy wheels, which is nature walks. If I did the nature walks that Alan that
Hey,
Alex
Alan.
Alan
I'm
Alan
becoming Alan.
that Alex does, I we would still be walking right now from 2 weeks ago. You
hmm
know,
hmm
it's just that we're all, and that just says that we're all different. I'm different from you. You're different from me, and we're both different from Lee. And
That,
and we all have disabilities. So the needs of a person vary.
yep. That said, Mike, we should definitely race sometimes. It'd be interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, that would it would be um more like a Walking Dead type situation. Uh,
Absolutely.
that kind of thing. But you know, that being
Correct.
said, correct. Yeah, it would. But that being said, Walking Dead or not, I want to be able to have services.
And have access to services for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I mean, why is it that whenever anything's cut, one of the first groups of people is, people with disabilities, or
Mhm.
the elderly, or veterans, groups of people that really need these services to survive.
Yeah.
Um,
And the answer ultimately is also, I mean, I'm not to speak for everybody, but I would say that a big part of that is because we're a minority. And because we're a minority, it's like, oh, because you're not, you're the fat of the meat per se, we're gonna try to cut you off as much as we can. But
yeah,
you know, um, the other thing too, though, that I think more people need to talk about is, you know, if you're going to remove Medicaid, what does that leave us with? You know,
yeah,
we have to have something. You can't just leave us high and dry and expect us not to say something or do something about it. You know,
yeah.
what
Yeah.
you know, um,
I mean,
so
how would we live? I mean, what
right.
what alternative do you give us?
What is the result of that? You're just gonna have people with disabilities, sit in their own filth and get infections and die. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's,
just
it's like the old institution type of thing.
yeah,
And what are we gonna do? Just sit in our families' basements, and some of us don't even have families, so we
right.
would be,
And
yeah,
for those of you wondering, institutions are run off government money as well. So
yeah,
there wouldn't be much of a difference in that regard. Um,
no,
but you'd
it
have a
would,
lot more cases of abuse for sure.
yeah, it would just be the money would be coming from a different spot.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we would really encourage everybody that is listening and that knows or doesn't know somebody with a disability to call their legislator and say that you don't want services cut to
Right.
um, you know
Reach out to your
to
local representatives for sure.
yeah, yeah, we don't want services cut, we don't want funding cut, we our services matter. So we, make that few second phone call to voice um voice your opinion so that we keep our services.
Absolutely. Lee, do you have any final thoughts on the matter? Anything you want to share?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Well, I think that's good. Um, this has been another great episode of Planet Capable. Please join us next time for another great episode.
Yes, please do, and make that
See you
call.
later, alligator.
See you later, alligator. Love it.
Okay. All right.